There's something within you that does not belong to you. It has dwelled inside for years, breathing when you breathe, resting when you rest, thinking when you think. It hides in your choices, pretending to be your own voice. But it isn't you. It's an echo that copied your tone until it no longer sounded foreign.
It slid quietly into your chest, stared at you from within, and whispered, "You are mine." And you, without noticing, agreed. You agreed the first time you said, "Just once more." You agreed when you clenched your jaw on the cliff's edge and told yourself, "I'm still in control." But let's not lie, by then it was already too late. Here's the truth. A piece of you has gone rotten. And the tragedy? You've grown comfortable with the stench. You renamed it habit. You called it routine. You excused it as escape. But none of those names are real. It's a parasite, a leech feeding on your broken promises, your wasted intentions, your desperate craving to feel something, anything, when you've gone numb. You think you understand addiction? Addiction isn't just a needle, a drink, or a cigarette. Addiction is whatever devours the truths you refuse to face. Listen closely. You aren't enslaved to a substance. You're enslaved to a lie. The lie that you need it. The lie that you can't survive without it. The lie that you have control. But tell me this, when was the last time you made a choice without that inner voice weighing in? Don't answer yet. Picture this instead. You're trapped in a pitch-black room. You don't know how you ended up there, only that there's no way out. Every time you reach for a door, a shadow slips behind it, calls your name, and like a trained pet, you follow, because the company of that shadow feels less terrifying than being alone. And here's the most twisted part. That shadow looks like you. That is addiction. And the reason you haven't beaten it is because you still believe it lives outside you. It doesn't. It's not in the substance. It's in the emptiness you refuse to confront. It's not a horned demon. It's the wounded child you never cared for, who built castles out of smoke and now rules over you. Addiction doesn't shout. It whispers in your own voice. How many times have you stood outside yourself, watching the same mistakes repeat like a film on loop, powerless to stop it? How many times have you promised, "This is the last time," while knowing you were lying? You lie because you've built an identity around your prison. You've decorated the cell, given it a name, hung quotes on its damp walls while the mold spreads unseen. But here's the harsh reality. What you refuse to face consumes you. As Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. What you bury returns as fate. And until you admit this, as long as you keep dismissing it as just a phase, as long as you keep insisting you're in charge, addiction will win. Not loudly, but silently, like a disease without symptoms until it's too advanced. It's already stolen your time, your relationships, your opportunities, yourself. Not through violence, but through patience, through cunning, because it doesn't need to break you in one blow. It only needs you to fracture piece by piece. And you do, daily. Tiny shards of yourself swept under the rug of, "I'm fine." But you're not fine. You are in a war you haven't even acknowledged. This is not a message of comfort. This is a battle cry, a warning, an autopsy written while you're still alive. Because until you see who's really steering the wheel, you'll keep driving into your own destruction while thinking you're in control. That pressure on your chest, that hollow ache nothing can fill. Not food, not sex, not work, not scrolling, not drugs. That is the sign. You are a guest inside your own body. And now you know, you can't unknow it. From this moment forward, you will never again let addiction disguise itself as you. Because once you see the parasite for what it is, the illusion shatters. The truth is darker still. It hasn't just invaded your actions, it has rewritten you. It has etched itself into your reflection. Look closely. Do you recognize yourself anymore, or just the replica shaped by your void? Addiction doesn't just cling to habits. It latches onto identity, speaks in your name, tells you it is you. And why can't you drop it? Because pain has become home. Because suffering, twisted as it is, feels safe. Familiar chains feel like comfort. Old wounds become surnames. You reread your relapses like chapters of a story you refuse to close. You've come to love the pain because at least pain reminds you that you exist. Without it, there's nothing, and that abyss is even more terrifying. So what if, without your suffering, you're nobody? What if you don't know who you are without the addiction that is killing you? Jung saw it with chilling clarity. We don't grow by imagining light, we grow by making darkness conscious. You've spent your life running from that shadow, when the answer was the opposite. Face it. See it in all its ugliness. Because addiction is no accident. It is architecture. Every repressed emotion, every silenced thought, every buried trauma, each one a brick. You built the wall, and the cruelest part? You invited it. You fed it. You gave it a name. You asked its permission. Now you don't know how to live without checking in with your jailer. But here's the escape. The door was never locked. The only thing keeping you inside is fear, not of pain, but of freedom. Freedom means no excuses. Freedom means no more blaming the past, your parents, the system, anxiety, insomnia. Only one figure remains in the mirror, you. Vulnerable, unsure, and that terrifies you more than staying broken. Because chaos is familiar. Noise is company. Even when it drags you down, it still speaks to you, and you listen. But identity can be rebuilt. You weren't born shackled. You weren't born with this chain. You were born free. And then, little by little, you convinced yourself freedom wasn't yours to keep. But that was always a lie. The world didn't conspire against you. You simply believed you couldn't change. Because change meant killing the part of you you've grown attached to, even though it poisons you. Yes, letting go hurts. Even poison can feel warm. But enough. From this moment, the battle begins. Not against the substance. Not against the habit. Against the version of you that settled for living in ruins. And though that version may scream, remember, it is not you. It's residue. A ghost. Bury it. Because you've finally seen the monster, and it wears your face. But it does not hold your soul. Your soul is still alive. Scarred, yes. Dirty, yes. But alive and waiting. And now, the question, what will you do? Because this isn't just about resisting impulses. That's surface work. The deeper truth is this: you've confused resistance with identity. You've defined yourself by what you avoid rather than by who you want to become. That is why you've been stuck in survival mode. Life has been one long defense. Always braced, always guarded, always fighting yourself. But you cannot spend eternity detonating your own minefield. Freedom is not the absence of explosions. Freedom is the ability to create, to breathe, to exist in chaos without fear. And that requires something rare: purpose. Not distraction. Not goals with no soul. Purpose. Purpose doesn't appear out of thin air. It's forged. Through discipline, through anger redirected, through solitude that strips away illusions. You'll lose people. You'll stop fitting in. You'll make others uncomfortable. Because your healing will act as a mirror to those still hiding from themselves. They'll attack not out of hate, but because your growth forces them to face their own lies. But remember, you owe them nothing. This path is yours. It's about the life you could build if you stopped wasting energy surviving and started investing in living. You've poured years into protecting a life you don't even like. What would happen if you poured that effort into building one worth living? It won't be easy, but it will be real. And real is lighter than fake. We don't break from exhaustion. We break from pretending. Authenticity is the first step. Not polished, curated authenticity, raw authenticity. The kind that doesn't need approval to exist. Want to defeat your addiction? Tear down the persona that excuses it. The mask that says, "This is just who I am." The mask that insists, "Change is impossible." Kill it. It's not you. It never was. You've been silent too long. It's time to speak in your true voice. Louder, clearer, unapologetic. Because in a broken world, being well is rebellion. And you weren't born to spectate, you were born to write your story. Not a story that ends with, "They were good, but couldn't escape their demons." No, you can. Not with superpowers, but with truth. With the courage to stand in your ruins and declare, "Here, I will build anew." And you will. Because once the lie is exposed, you can no longer embrace it without gagging. Something inside you still wants to live. Not just survive, live. Breathe without guilt. Feel without anesthetic. Choose without fear. That part is shouting now. Don't betray it. Give it space. Give it fire. Give it direction. Because this time, addiction does not win. This time, you return. Awake, whole, unchained. And when you finally step into the light, you realize something startling. The light was never outside. It was always within, you just had your eyes closed. The harshest truth? Salvation was never out there. Not in treatments. Not in quotes. Not even in these words. Salvation was always you, without the mask, without the noise, without the fear. And you feel it now, that chill, that discomfort, that quiet certainty. You are finally looking where you were meant to look. And here comes the hardest part. It's not about fighting. It's about choosing. Yes, abandoning self-destruction is painful, but building a new life is even harder. Because now there are no excuses, no villains, no scapegoats, only you and the possibility of who you can become. And that possibility is not an ending. It's a beginning, a blank canvas where you can create something real. This time without lies, without crutches, without masks. You've been asleep too long, kneeling to fear disguised as truth. But now you see the trick. You know it wasn't you. It never was. And when you awaken, others awaken. Your change spreads. It disturbs, it inspires, it saves. Someone is watching, silently waiting for proof it's possible. And your choice could be the spark they need. So, remember this, revolution isn't slogans. It isn't banners. It's silent integrity, consistent action, unshakable courage. Defeating addiction is not the end of your story. It's the opening chapter. Page 1, awareness. Page 2, fire. Page 3, freedom. The rest you write, not as a character but as the author. Write something worthy, something raw, something alive. Because you weren't born to survive. You were born to burn the false and dance in the ashes. And when the night comes, when you close your eyes, imagine this. For the first time, there is no whisper. Only silence. Only you. Only peace. And you smile because you know the monster will not win again. Disappear from the noise. Break it all. And return unstoppable. See you in the shadows or in the light.